Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for the Todd Allbaugh Show on Wednesday, October 1st. I hope somebody, to quote a Quick Trip tweet, did anybody remember to wake up Green Day? I really hope so. 'Cause they have the song "Wake Me Up When September Ends." Everyone knows
I didn't
explaining the
know
joke
that.
makes the joke better.
Oh,
Anyway,
nice.
25 seconds till we start the show.
Oh, fantastic. Here we go.
On location, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh along with Mr. Aaron Zommers, our producer and engineer. It is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, and it is
Hump Day!
Look at that. The camel got in the back of the truck and made it all the way up here to beautiful Shawano County. We are live on location today here in Shawano. It is a beautiful fall afternoon here. Temperatures in the upper 70s. Mostly a little bit of overcast skies, I guess, right now. We're on location on our end. Was off, we had a pre-recorded show yesterday. Dad had a little oral surgery. All is well, but up here for a couple of days, helping out my stepbrother and my stepmom, helping Dad recoup. And he's sitting right off stage in the wings right now in his chair as our on-site director. So that's a lot of fun. And we thought, well, why not come outside and back at the old world headquarters on at the intersection of State and Fairchild, Mr. Aaron Zommers. Zommers, how are things back home?
It's going well here. Nothing too crazy. It's, as always, it's a little weird having all the lights and everything off in the studio ahead of me, but
Well, I only wish you were here because if you've never been to Shuttle County, it's a beautiful part of the state, about a half an hour drive now with the Highway 29 just west of Green Bay. So it's a beautiful, lots of lake, of course, during the season, as they say. Lots of the population goes up by several thousand for people recreating on the lake here in Shawano County. But we'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later. Also, hour number two. Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner is going to be along. Of course, he represents parts of the Green Bay area, not too far from here, as we mentioned. He's addressing, they're going to be talking about something. Doesn't matter whether you're in Shawano or Lake Wissota or River Falls or Richland Center, anywhere, Milwaukee. It seems like housing is on everybody's mind right now, the shortage thereof. And here's a guy, and this is one of the many reasons I think a lot of Representative Rivera-Wagner, here's a guy who doesn't just come on and witch and moan. He brings a solution. He has some legislation to address the housing shortage in Wisconsin, so he'll be here at 3:35 to discuss that. Or what's worse today, overhead lighting or lamps? We'll discuss that. And our green and gold text-to-win trivia contest, or not text-to-win contest. Be so glad this week is over. Coming up in hour two, so stay tuned to win fabulous cash and prizes if the price is right. But first, per our Wednesdays, every Wednesday, joining us from beautiful Lake Wissota, where I'm sure it's a beautiful fall day as well. He is the host of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow every morning from 6 until 9 a.m., Mr. Patrick Jerome Kreitlow, and joining us from the Tony suburbs of our nation's capital, the senior advisor to the Lincoln Project, Mr. Trygve Olson. Gentlemen, how are you?
Hey, Trygve, look at this guy. Look at Todd. Look at the screen there. He's sitting in a beautiful backyard with some pumpkins. I mean, it's set up. And then there's a full table, laptop. He's got the full radio gear there. Mm-hmm. You realize what you're seeing right there? You're seeing my future. When I go around the bend, they're just going to put me in the backyard and tell me that I'm doing a radio show. And I'm just going to talk to the trees and the birds. And I feel like we're looking ahead a few years at what this looks like. Todd will be one of my guests. We'll just sit there in the backyard and we'll talk out loud.
We're not really here. He's just imagining all of this. It's a simulation inside the Matrix.
I'll look forward. This is funny you bring that up, you guys, because and this is serious. The British primatologist, anthropologist Jane Goodall, unfortunately passed away, but she lived a full life to 91 years old.
Uh-oh. Where did Todd go?
Well, there you go. I told
See?
you.
You
The
know what?
Matrix has hit a glitch, Pat. Now it's just you and me, baby.
It could be, unless Mr. Zommers jumps in here. And
Don't
here.
don't ask
Oh,
don't ask me to talk about Jane Goodall. I don't
No,
even
no,
know who
same-
that is.
I don't
Wasn't
know.
she on NFL Today in the
no,
70s
no,
or something?
no. That's changed. Oh, look, Todd's back.
That was hilarious. I don't know
With
what happened.
Brent Musburger? I think so.
That was
was
Jane,
somebody else.
Jane Kennedy who was on there.
Oh yeah, Jane Kennedy. You're
Yeah,
right.
and I sometimes get Jane Goodall mixed up with Diane Fossey, the activist who was murdered. She worked with apes, whereas Jane Goodall worked with chimpanzees. And I sometimes get Diane Fossey mixed up with Bob Fosse, the choreographer.
I kind of feel like Diane
Jazz
Fossey. I
hands.
work with apes too.
At least Todd gave us jazz hands on cue there. So,
Well,
Todd,
thank
would you like to take your show
Yeah,
back?
I don't know. We're on the satellite. Everything's fine. Elon shut it down for a second, but thank you. Always appreciate it. All right, boys. Well, anyway, we're off to a flying start here on a Wednesday. Want to get into a little bit what's happening out in D.C. Let's set the table, then we'll get Pat and Trigvy's comments on that. The federal government shut down this morning because Donald Trump and congressional leaders have not passed a bill to fund the government for another 7 weeks. Democrats are seeking a compromise that would save health insurance for millions of Americans. Republicans, of course, refusing to compromise. For years, Republicans have been dedicated to destroying Obamacare, also known as the Affordable Care Act, or ACA. Republicans' recent one big bill cut off subsidies that make ACA health insurance plans affordable for millions of U.S. citizens. And that is, in a nutshell, why the government is shutting down. Pat Kreitlow, Trivy Olson. Pat, first you, initial thoughts on where we're at right now, federal government-wise.
Well, first, in something that you probably wouldn't expect from me, I'm going to say something to mildly correct the record in favor of the Republican point of view on here.
All right.
They are not taking away the enhanced tax benefits under the Affordable Care Act. They are letting them expire. That was a 4-year extension, I believe, that was put up during the Biden administration. A lot of folks figured that in 4 years, we'd see how important they are and then want to renew them. Republicans are refusing to renew them. That's what's going to lead to huge price hikes for everybody on the exchanges. And frankly, it'll trickle down to everybody else. So while they're not cutting it, they're certainly not seeing the benefit of it. And their constituents are going to give them an earful about that and about the cuts to Medicaid. I'll say again, Republicans don't have the votes to pass something on their own. They can't agree amongst themselves. They're dysfunctional. They need Democratic votes. And so the easiest thing for them to do would be to say, you know what, we will go back and extend those Affordable Care Act tax benefits for a year or 2 years and then just be done with it. But they don't want to do it.
Important correction. I appreciate that, Pat. Trigby, how about it? You're a guy who worked for people like John McCain, knew how to get things through Capitol Hill out there in D.C. To Pat's point, did Democrats mess up on the messaging? Are Republicans doing any better? First, on the Democratic side, would have been better for Democrats to just say, "Okay, we'll give you a continuing resolution for now for another month or two, but this is it." And we're not going to pass anything else unless these tax benefits for healthcare are extended beyond the end of the calendar year. And if you have a bad Christmas, it's Trump who's the Grinch, not us. And on the Republican side, why are they making this about a flat out lie? They're trying to say that they're holding this up because they don't want quote unquote illegals, i.e. undocumented persons, to receive health care benefits when it is the law currently that they cannot. What's up with the messaging on this and the strategy out in the nation's capital?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty clear both sides are trying to pander and position with their base, and the middle is sort of stuck. with no government functioning at the moment. I think it's more of an indictment on where both sides are and how afraid, well, I guess on the Republican side, they're owned by their base, the mega base. But on the left, Schumer stepped in last time with the continuing resolution. I think the far left, he probably drew himself a primary challenge from AOC. I just think, again, it gets to how dysfunctional we've become as a nation. That, there's no budget, there's no, there's constantly continuing resolutions. Let's keep the government open for 7 more weeks. It's just
There's an important part of the timing, though, that I want to make sure is inserted there when people go, well, Democrats, they went for the continuing resolution in March. Why don't they just do it again? There's something happened in between March and now, and that was the big bloated boondoggle that makes $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid. So when you ask, well, why don't Democrats just say, okay, we'll do another continuing resolution and we'll work this out in a month or two? A, there is no trust that Republicans will take it up. They won't. And B, you got to do this now because the open enrollment period begins around November 1st. And nobody knows if there's going to be these big hikes or not. So this is the time to force the issue and to make it happen. And so as long as Republicans want to continue to try to both sides this rather than, take ownership of the cuts, the healthcare cuts that they've made, this is going to go on for a while.
Yeah,
Pat,
I think
that's
so
the first
too.
that you're the first person, the first place anywhere that I've heard what you just said about the open enrollment period, which, I've been trying to follow all this last 40 hours. You're 100% right. I never thought of that, and I haven't heard it anywhere else. So why is it the Democrats don't get up in front and say just exactly what you said? That's the most salient point out there.
Trigby, I don't know. Help us.
Because a lot of the Democrats aren't like Pat. I don't know.
Ooh, okay. I'll
Certainly
take
the ones certainly the ones in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I know how we could change that, Pat. There's an
Yeah.
open seat somewhere near you.
Yes, which
Might even be yours.
which I will again take credit that this morning on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, powered by Up North News, Fred Clark made his announcement, the former Assembly rep, that he is running for Congress in the 7th Congressional District. So breaking a little news over here on Civic Media.
I appreciate you bringing that up, Pat.
You want to break some news here on the Todd Allbaugh Show, Pat?
No.
Sure?
Todd, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say I got to know former Representative Clark when he was in the legislature, when my former boss Dale Schultz was in the legislature. Really great guy, really great person, and is someone who cares about the stewardship of conservation in this state, understands forestry better than as well as anyone else. And I think, as much as I'd love to see Pat run, I think that Fred Clark is a great candidate.
I think he's going to be a very good candidate on the Democratic side. We'll see if it's Mary Felskowski, or I know there's a couple of other people that have announced as well. So there's plenty of time between now and August. But I was very happy to see Fred Clark run. For folks that don't know and go, wait, wasn't he represented the Baraboo area? Yes, he did for a time, but then now he's relocated up to the Ashland Bayfield area. He's been there for a number of years now and is running in the 7th District. So that's a nice development there. Because again, if it means one less person like a Tom Tiffany who will have absolutely no oversight of the president, no guardrails, nothing like that, then yeah, let's put that seat in some different hands.
Absolutely, and congrats on Pat for breaking that news, and what a get up there, man. That's why you got to listen, get up in the morning and listen to your Mornings with Pat Kreitlow every morning from 6 until 9. We're going to come back and talk more with the aforementioned Mr. Kreitlow and also Trygve Olsen from Washington, D.C. Going to talk about what's next in the Wisconsin governor's race. Why is it that people decide to get in even when they're hypocrites? Do they think they're not going to be outed in this day and age? We'll ask that to Pat Kreitlow and Trygve Olsen and more. Don't go anywhere. We're live from Shawano, Wisconsin on the Civic Media Radio Network.
98.7 WMDX.
Thank you for. We had the meeting with Zommers and Luke earlier. I said, well, I'll make sure the feed is fine. Everything was fine, and of course, as soon as the show starts, boom.
Todd, can you see the chat? We have a caller on the line.
Oh, I did not. Sorry. Thank you for bringing
Also,
that
we
to my
got
attention.
another voice call from Troy in Mount Horeb.
Oh, what
Run, Pat, run. Run, Pat, run. Run, Pat,
That's
run.
fantastic.
Troy from Mount Horeb.
That's fantastic.
Basically the same as last time.
I think Pat looks tan, rested, and ready.
Tanned.
Congressional district has finally made it official. He's running for the election for governor in 2026.
Oh,
It's the
dear.
state's first open race for the office since 2010. It's sure to invite many candidates to run. And on the Republican side, Tiffany's is the most significant announcement yet. There's a very good chance that he is going to be the
But yeah, Todd, do you have the StreamYard chat open?
I have Terry. Hello to Shuttle County. I grew up
Or
in
the
Apple.
chat, not the
I'm sorry.
comments.
In Wisconsin. For so long, it's been the WOW counties.
Oh, I got it. Right, Tom McFarland. Got it. All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Just want to make sure that
All right,
you can see it because I know you said you have glare on your screen.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
He's got a hat on. Oh, the glare is coming from somewhere else. I see. It's just you're so bright. You know?
I gotta wear shades. The future's so bright.
You know, the recombobulation era with,
Dan
that
Schaefer.
somehow, that Tiffany is a shift to a more ruralized Republican Party away from the WOW counties.
Yes.
Any issues with that take, Todd? You know what that take is not taking into account too? The redneck
30
from
seconds.
Elroy. No, the hick from Elroy. Sort of missing that point.
Right.
To End Alzheimer's is coming to Madison on October 5th. Walk with WMBX in honor of someone you love and help us.
Run, Pat, run. Run, Pat, run. Run, Pat, run. Troy from Mount Horeb.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. Sommer is playing a message off on the old phone line. That's right. You can call and leave messages now to us on the Civic Media app. Download it on your Apple or Android device. We are here live on location in beautiful Shawano, Wisconsin. Joining us as per usual on a Wednesday from our nation's capital, Trygve Olsen, Senior Advisor to the Lincoln Project, and from beautiful Lake Wissota, where it's equally as nice. Autumn day. Mr. Pat Kreitlow, you can hear him every morning from 6 until 9 across select stations on the Civic Media Radio Network. And as David Letterman likes to say, I hope one of your stations has been selected.
It's,
anyway,
it's very easy on this app to leave a voice note. You hit the voice note thing. You just got to tap it and go, let's see. Oh, you have to let it use the thing. No, Troy, no. No, Troy, no. No, Troy, no. There we go. Okay. All right.
Yeah, normally we just get crank calls for our show on the app. Let's turn to the governor's race, gentlemen.
No, Troy, no. No, Troy, no.
Look at that.
See, it
It
came
come
in.
through immediately.
Wow.
Came through immediately. All right, very good.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, let's go to the governor's race, guys, of the state of Wisconsin. Changes. Bill Berrien, Republican, dropped out last week after the reporting of Dan Bice in the Journal-Sentinel, which found out, and look, I've said this before, whatever people want to do in their private lives, as long as it's legal and consensual, hey, that live and let live, baby. But the problem is, and it always seems to happen more likely on the Republican side, when you get these guys that want to run to the right on family values like Bill Berrien, and then it turns out he's participating, in this case, some very adult content following transgender porn stars and this sort of thing on social media platforms. And so he decides to get out. You have Tom Tiffany of the 7th Congressional District, who is now in. It's essentially a two-person race between Tiffany and Josh Shulman on the Republican side. And then on the Democratic side, you had former WEDC secretary, director, whatever they call her these days, Missy Hughes in. And when Luke Mathers told me about this, the first thing I said was, who? because I didn't. That's the problem I have with some of the people in this administration, in the Evers administration. They don't sell themselves enough, and I forgot who she was, but she seems like a strong candidate. Trigby, first to you. What's up, particularly on people from our former party thinking they can run as hypocrites and not get outed?
You know, I don't know that it has anything to do with political identification, although there's lots of hypocrites certainly within that world, because that's what happens when you have to pay, fidelity to somebody who's got a different set of values probably than you do, but you need to go along. I just think it's human nature, right? Like, I mean, cognitive dissonance is a real thing, Todd. I don't know if you figured that out, but it's a real thing. And I also think, in some of these cases, you get people who haven't run for office and they don't understand that we live in an age where anything you've done is likely to come out. And particularly the younger you are, because you've lived your life with people walking around with cameras in their pockets.
Yeah. No, very true. Pat, on the Democratic side, look, I think the bona fides, as they say, her resume, Missy Hughes, very qualified, and I thought she came out with a strong video. We played the first minute of it a couple of days ago, like we did for everybody else who's come out. But again, I just think Democrats, particularly Evers' administration, they don't sell themselves enough.
Well, and that's exactly why she's starting as early as she does. She has until August of next year to try to make voters in the Democratic primary see her as, the choice that will understand how to create jobs, is not a politician, as in politics as usual. Maybe people are looking for somebody who's never been in the legislature and thrown all those verbal, grenades all the time. And if she can carve that lane for herself, then maybe she's got enough time to build that kind of a following. But you're now asking people who already know about Kelda Roys, who already know Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez, already know David Crawley or Fran Hong, to give her a look. And like I said, I mean, that's with who knows who else is going to be getting in this race before all is said and done. So she's got the accomplishments, yes, but she's got a lot of work to do between now and August to get her name ID up and for people to go, yeah, she would be the non-traditional choice that I think we need.
Let's go to the phone lines quickly. Tom McFarland. Tom, listening to WMDX out of Madison. Tom, if you can make it quick, please add a comment or a question on the government shutdown in D.C. Tom, are you there? Anybody?
We must have lost Tom,
All right,
but we
Tom.
do have Troy in Mount Horeb calling about the gubernatorial race.
Troy, Mount Horeb. Troy, what do you got for us, my friend, quickly?
Hello.
Hey, Troy.
Hello? Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. I won't bother you again, Pat. But I have a quick question. So in 2016, the Republican presidential primary had a bunch of candidates and one lunatic, and we ended up with the one lunatic. Are we getting to the point in the Democratic primary where we've got 5 normal candidates and 2 out there candidates, and we got to be worried about one of them 2 getting in?
Who are the out ones? Who are the oddballs?
Sternad and Halsey. I would say.
No, I don't think either one has. I mean, Donald Trump had recognition, an oddball, but recognition, and the other 2 simply do not. They do not have time to build that kind of a base. So, no, I think at this point, if I had to bet a quarter on it, it'll be somebody who's already in the race. But I always leave room to be surprised.
And
thanks, Troy. Go ahead, Trigby.
Primaries. A lot of it comes down to who can raise resources to be on TV in places that others aren't, and with the volume that they need, or in people's Facebook feeds or wherever.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Always having the experience both on television, radio, and online. Patrick Jerome Kreitlow. You can see him every morning from 6 until 9 on Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. Thanks, Pat. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
All right. Come on back. Trigby and I will continue talking, take your phone calls next live from Shawnee, Wisconsin. First, the Farm News on the Civic Media Radio Network.
And Todd in the pumpkin patch.
That's right. It's gonna hang out in the pumpkin patch all day.
Yes. I know. All right,
Well,
guys.
thank you. That was
Yep.
fun. I
See you,
appreciate
Pat.
you.
Yep.
All
See
right.
you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, Pat.
Yes.
Pat.
Yes.
Sorry. I'll text you after the show. Doing family stuff. And
Yes.
An appointment we had.
You want to skip?
changed.
You want to skip
So
tomorrow morning?
I'm sorry I can't be there
Yes.
tomorrow
No,
morning.
that's totally fine.
All right,
Joe
I apologize.
Zapecki doesn't mind talking a little bit longer.
I'm
It's
sure
okay.
he doesn't. I just didn't want to leave you hanging.
No. All good.
All
Thank
right,
you for
thank
telling
you.
me. All right.
Yep.
See you guys.
Bye. Trigby.
Todd, how long do we have until the next segment starts?
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
All right, I'm going to get something to eat. I'll be right back.
Okay. This musical interlude brought to you by Trigby's going to get something to eat.
They know agriculture and will work for you. Egg Country. Focused on ag, focused on you. Egg Country is an equal opportunity lender.
Jasmine Allbaugh is the executive
Oh, Lord, yes.
behind the nationwide
All right.
Green Career Week, running October 6th through the 10th. The goal? To spark student interest in the multi-billion-dollar world of horticulture. She tells us how you can get involved.
Oh, I must have knocked the camera a little. I had it not sideways like that.
That's fine.
Worked with students to get them connected to a local horticulture business. So independent garden center, a florist, a breeder, a nursery, greenhouse, you name it. There are businesses right in the middle of urban settings, rural settings,
Scott
or everywhere.
Madison
We just don't
thinks
know,
that-
right? So Cedric, if you reach out to us, we can
Doesn't
help you
like
get
the way
connected
that-
to a business that's in your
I don't think I
area.
was. I
You
don't
can set
think
up
I
field
was
trips,
saying
go to
the
these
both sides of the
businesses and
blame.
get
I
to
was
know
saying.
them
I was
as
saying the
employers. What are
message is
different roles
bad.
that they have and offer for students. for
Yeah,
college
there is a
I love-
difference there.
She says
I love how-
horticulture
I
is a
love how
field
people
that stretches
things
from
only
turf
through their own
management to
lens.
landscape design,
That's
even
entertaining
graphic
to me.
design. Jasmine Allbaugh, along with us, who says Green Career Week is a chance for students of all backgrounds to connect with a career path that they may not have considered. More agribusiness news coming your way next.
Unique farming operations need unique financial solutions. Egg Country Farm Credit Services offers customized financing that fits any size farm, ranch, or agribusiness. The next time you're in the market for more land, equipment, facilities, or maybe even an operating loan, contact the team at Egg Country. They know agriculture and will work for you. Egg Country. Focused on ag, focused on you. Egg Country is an equal opportunity lender.
The road to Madison has meant bringing home first place honors for a few individuals. Wisconsin has been competitive this week, taking home second place in the 103rd National 4-H Dairy Cattle Judging Contest. UW-Madison finished in the top 5 in the 104th National Intercollegiate Dairy Cattle Judging Contest at World Dairy Expo. Congratulations again to the Wisconsin 4-H Dairy Judging Team and the UW-Madison Dairy Cattle Judging Team. For the Midwest Farm Report, I'm Stephanie Hoff.
The lakes, the capital, the UW, the radio station, 92.7 WMDX.
It is going to be another partly cloudy, warm day today. Our high right around 79 this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy. We'll drop into the mid to upper 50s. Tomorrow, sunny, a little breezier with a high in the low to mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 75.
Get ready to go for the green and gold on this local Civic Media radio station. Listen each weekday for the keywords to text for your chance to win our daily prize, $200 cash and gold jewelry. And be entered to win our grand prize, 2 indoor club level seats to see the green and gold take on Minnesota in Green Bay. Just download our free Civic Media app and listen weekdays at 7, 9, 11, 1, 3, 5, and 7 for your chance to win in our multi-state contest. For complete rules, go to civicmedia.us.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do
Pizza?
it.
No one gets a diploma alone.
All right, we got about 30 seconds.
It's a huge piece of pizza.
New York style, baby. Real stuff.
Oh my God. Hold it. You want to talk about the Hegseth Trump military
15.
meeting? All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show, live on location in beautiful Shawano, Wisconsin. Just about a half hour or so drive on west of Green Bay on Highway 29. It's a beautiful, this is what it's about. You understand? We like to be out in Wisconsin. Great to get back out here on location a little bit. Glad to be with you. Going to be talking to a state representative from northeast Wisconsin, coming up here at hour number 2 at 3:35. Wisconsin State Rep Ahmad Rivera-Wagner talking about housing shortages in the state. And the great thing is he's bringing with him his own legislation as a way to say, hey, I'm not just going to gripe about something. I'm going to bring what I see as at least partly a solution to address this. So that's fantastic. Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner will be along in hour 2, as well as our green and gold text to win trivia and overhead lighting or lamps. That is the question in hour number 2 for what's worse as well. We are continue to be joined from outside our nation's capital via StreamYard by Mr. Trygve Olsen, River Falls boy hockey player extraordinaire, New York City pizza lover, and senior advisor to the Lincoln Project, Trygve Olsen. And also, we should really get into. I don't want to not get into this, because Trygve, he joined us last week. He was down in Dallas. He took his daughter's. Great dad, Trygve Olsen, was down in Dallas at Jerry World for the Packers versus the Cowboys. And it ends in a 40-40 tie. Trygve, you were there. Was it as bad in person as it was on television?
Gave me a headache, Todd.
Well, as a partial owner, you must be very upset about this.
Train going through in the background?
We do. They still have trains in Shawano County. How about that?
Yeah, all right. It was a wild game, Todd. It was really crazy. And then, there was a lot of green and gold in that stadium. And I'd say it was about 50-50.
It sounded like it on television.
We had Packer fans all around us and some Dallas fans. And, it was hard to believe. And then, I actually thought the most outrageous part was the fact that they almost lost the game.
Yes.
Because of utter mismanagement at the end. I mean, 1 second, for God's sakes. So
right.
It wasn't very good. And then, of course, there was a piece of me that was kind of excited because how often do you see an extra point blocked and returned by the other team for 2 points? But
not what you want to see.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Very quickly, because we have other political stuff we'll talk about. But Mark Tauger now on ESPN Wisconsin this week, who is the color analyst for Badger football games, former Badger himself, former Green Bay Packer, Mark Tauger. And we played the cut earlier this week on ESPN Wisconsin where Tausch said, look, I'm worried. When you have a guy like Mark Tauger saying he's worried, it gives you a little bit of pause. I'm not one of these people that are like, oh, the season's over or whatever. Clearly in the NFL, a lot easier to have 2 or 3 losses and still have a great postseason. But to me, it was much like the Badgers, Trygve. It was the sloppiness. It was the bad special teams play, a very porous defense. Those are the things that worry me more, not just the loss.
Yeah, I wouldn't go overboard on that. I'm less worried about the Packers. In fact, Tauscher, maybe they picked the wrong former Wisconsin boy offensive tackle to be the athletic director.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say they might have picked the wrong one to be athletic director?
Oh, I thought you said no. I'm sorry.
I think the Badgers are. I think Wisconsin Badger football is in way worse shape than.
100%.
Packers will be fine.
Yeah,
Packers
100%.
will be fine.
What are you making these people call it for? I mean, there are some knuckleheads. Well, I shouldn't say knucklehead. There are people now, saying that LaFleur isn't the right person to get the Packers to a Super Bowl again, and trying to blame this all on him. Do you buy that, or are you not buying that?
No, I think that's foolish. I mean,
all right. No, I agree with you though on the Badgers.
The LaFleur's a good coach. Listen, it's 2 games.
Right.
After the first 2 games, everybody thought, "Oh my God, the Super Bowl is ours. Just hand us the Lombardi Trophy."
Right.
And then By the way, we saw the Lombardi Trophy that's going to be
I saw that.
handed out.
That's cool.
Kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then they lose to Cleveland. The offense didn't look good. Cleveland's defensive line was really good. And I will say this for the Cowboys. The Cowboys came into that game with a really smart plan offensively 100%. For attacking the Packers.
Yep.
Dak Prescott was not hanging out. There were not a lot of 5-step and 7-step drops. He was getting the ball out. And so, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of the season left, as they say.
Remember in 2010 when the Packers won the Super Bowl, they had to win the last game to get in the playoffs against the Bears. Right. Everybody was like, "Oh, woe is me, we're done." Blah blah blah.
Packers off this week, have the bye. They're back in action again on Sunday, October 12th against the Cincinnati Bengals. You can hear it on select stations across the Civic Media Radio Network. Before we get back to politics, quickly go to the phone lines. Dick in Madison, listening on WMDX out of Madison, Wisconsin. Dick, you wanted to say something about the Packers quickly. Go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, I got to clean something up. I told you the other day I was wrong about that 8-0 start. I was right about it, and it wasn't his first season. Holmgren, remember when I told you?
Yeah.
And then they lost out and didn't even make the playoffs. It was its third season. And I should have remembered it because the guy I went to high school with and played football with in high school, Bob Woodsett, actually was the guy that hired Mike Holmgren. He was
Green
head
Bay
of
or
football
Seattle?
operation.
In Seattle.
In Seattle.
Yeah, in Seattle, yeah.
Yep.
No, I appreciate the clarification, but no, I mean that's your point is well taken, Trigby. Dick was calling the other day saying, look, I mean, you can't always judge by starts out, because once Holmgren went to Seattle, but I appreciate him cleaning that up. So no, I agree that Packers a lot of season left, a lot of great things still could.
Not how you start the season, Todd. It's how you end it.
I think exactly right. The way that the Trump administration is starting out, maybe not starting anymore. We're 6-7 months into this second term, but yesterday there was this very curious, to be polite about it, meeting of military leaders, 800 and some odd flag officers and generals at Quantico, Virginia, just outside Washington, D.C. And Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, former Fox News weekend host, was addressing the troops, not just the troops, but the generals there at this auditorium. And he got off to a rocky... First of all, for those that don't know, Trigby worked for John McCain. Obviously, I don't know if there's anybody in the military that got more respect out of anybody than John McCain for spending, 5 years, right, in the Hanoi Hilton as a prisoner of war, Trigby?
Long time.
Yeah, but our military folks know when they're in uniform, especially, they are not supposed to.
I believe Todd was saying they're not supposed to make political comments. He can correct me when Elon decides to give him his internet back.
Pardon?
You froze, Todd.
Oh, didn't
you were saying that the military officials, particularly when in uniform.
Yes, particularly when in uniform, are not allowed to applaud for partisan political things. I mean, if it's celebrating the United States or whatever, but generally it just doesn't happen. So these military leaders, are put in a weird position. Here is Secretary Hegseth addressing this group of flag officers, generals, and he insults veterans of our military, particularly our generals.
The new compass heading is clear. Out with the Shirellis, the Mackenzies, and the Millies, and in with the Stockdales, the Schwarzkopfs, and the Pattons. More leadership changes will be made, of that I'm certain. Not because we want to, but because we must. Once again, this is life and death.
That was Secretary Hegseth. And just for reference, General McKenzie was a person who warned of the Iraqi threat numerous times. General Milley, of course, saw some of the most combat of any general in American military history, from those that actually follow this and know it. Here's another one where he gets into the, I'll call it, mess around and find out. It's better known by another name. Here is Hegseth yesterday at the Pentagon.
Should our enemies choose foolishly to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
Of course, it means something we can't say on the air. We'll just say mess around and find out. And finally, this is the way Secretary Hegseth ended his speech to the flag officers and generals at Quantico, Virginia yesterday.
Move out and draw fire, because we are the War Department. Godspeed.
Room, attention.
And just in case you're wondering, at the end, that was not like a rousing, yeah, go. It was whoever the person in charge was calling everybody to stand up at attention and simply stand as the secretary left. There was zero applause. Trigby, we haven't even gotten to President Trump's comments yet, but you worked for John McCain. Your reflections.
Yeah, I just think, I don't know. I don't want to. I have no idea what he would be saying about it. I know he'd have an opinion. That's and I don't think it would be a positive one, probably. But I think, even this is the thing. Even the calling it, we're going to call it. We're not the Defense Department anymore. We're the War Department. There is this bravado, there is this screwing around, and this desire for chaos, and there's a lot of cosplay in this. I mean, I know Pete Hegseth served, obviously, but there's the whole thing about I want generals who are physically fit. That's got to be coming straight from Donald Trump, which is ironic. Given that he's the commander-in-chief and he doesn't meet the 75% physical male threshold that they've set by any means. I think people have to ask themselves: are we about defending our nation, or do you want to be at war? And do you understand what that means? And not all conflicts are going to be what Americans have seen as conflicts. It's just we're headed towards a very bad place. We're like the guy who's walking into the bar looking to start something that, quite frankly, we probably don't want to start.
Let's go to the first cut of President Trump yesterday addressing military leaders at Quantico, Virginia, where he is met with silence as he took the stage.
I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir, you won't hear a murmur in the room. I said, we got to loosen these guys up a little bit.
Donald Trump yesterday talking to military leaders. Weird is certainly one word for it. Come on back. We're live from Shawnee, Wisconsin with Trigby Olson. More after this on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Fish fry on a Friday night. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Let's wrap this up. And then what else do you want to talk about before we leave?
There's nothing quite like the perfect fit. And at Allure Intimate Apparel, that's exactly what they deliver. Their expert team offers one-on-one bra fittings in a graceful, no-pressure environment that celebrates every silhouette. It's luxury tailored to real life.
It's such a weird news day. I was thinking I should have brought up, the surprise meeting of gathering your generals. The last guy to pull that off was Hitler in 1935.
Visit allurefits.com.
There's.
I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare
that
cancellation guy. In 2011,
I just think
Wesley Financial Group.
they wanted video. They made these guys fly all in from everywhere because they wanted the visual of Donald Trump, basically.
Treating every client
having to,
like we'd want our own
in front of them. And then I think the other piece of it is, he probably wanted large applause, which they can't do.
Right.
And then that will end up becoming, see, the military is broke. We've got to, replace it with whatever.
We're so moved by their experience working with us.
Yeah.
They joined our team so they
you have a song you want to hear?
If you're stuck in a timeshare, let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit.
What would be
800-549-8866.
Sorry, Todd, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
800-549-8866.
I can't think
Madison
of anything.
Vegan Fest is just around the corner on October
Dealer's
4th at the
choice.
Lundy Lake Farm Park.
Toby
Whether
Keith.
you're a
I ain't as
dedicated
good as I
vegan,
once was,
vegetarian,
but
or
I'm
just
as good
someone
once
who's curious
as
about
I ever.
alternatives to animal products, Madison Vegan Fest is the perfect opportunity to explore plant-based foods and learn a bit more about why folks are making the switch. From fresh food to fun goods and informed speakers, spend your Saturday exploring this fan-favorite festival. WMDX Madison is proud to be a presenting sponsor of Vegan Fest 2025. See you there.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. The Army National Guard has taught me the value of showing respect to those I come in contact with each day. My service also
What kind of
allows me
pizza
to
do you have,
be there
Tricky?
for my community in
Pepperoni,
ways others
sausage?
can't.
Can't
I
see.
help my hometown
Sausage and
recover
pepperoni,
after
Todd.
Sausage and
My
pepperoni.
service in
All
the
right,
Army
very
National
good.
Guard
He
allows me
has
to
the
keep my
meats.
country
Trigby
and
Olsen,
those I
he
care
has
about
the meats.
safe from threats.
Oh, I got
also
some
work
mushrooms
with a
on there.
network of professionals that help me
gross.
succeed
Pretty
and
good.
accomplish the mission. Plus,
I don't like
the Army
mushrooms.
National
Not
Guard
those guys. I
education
like
benefits
morels, but
make
not
getting a
like the
higher
other
education
Cold
a
pizza.
reality.
Oh.
Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
All right, here we go.
I ain't as good as I once was. I got a few years on me now. But there was a time back in my prime when I could really lay it down. And if you need some love tonight, then I might have just enough. I ain't as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was.
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show, live on location in beautiful Shawano, Wisconsin. We are just a few blocks away from the Shawano County Fairgrounds. I don't think Toby Keith ever played here. Maybe he did. But hitherto unknown fact, and Trigby, one of your favorite people at Civic Media, probably your favorite person, because I know I'm not, Terry Barr. Terry Barr is from this
Terry
area.
Barr
grew
is-
up, yes.
Well, she's a legend, Todd.
She is a legend, and she grew up here in Shawano, and I think she was at this concert years ago, as was my stepmother, Mary, years ago, before Garth Brooks was Garth Brooks. He played the Shawano County Fair right before he exploded and became a superstar, and he kept it, even though he was on the verge of exploding, he kept his, as a star, he kept his contract and showed up at the Shawano County Fair, I think right around the time like Friends in Low Places was going to #1, so there you go.
Yeah, that sounds right. I remember
What?
hearing her say that.
Oh, yeah, big area for country music here at Trigby.
Well, I don't doubt that. I mean, the thing about Terry Barr is she's not as good once as she once was. She's just legendary.
good.
She's like GOAT. Yeah, she's good.
Right, great,
She's timeless.
She is timeless, and she's always great. You can hear her, of course, every evening from 6 until 9, or a little bit later on WMDX on Max Inc. Radio.
Rockin' the house.
That's right. You can also catch the program via the Civic Media app if you don't live in the Madison area. And, of course, she does our slice of Wisconsin. She does the new Wisco Weekend show out of Green Bay and Oshkosh. She's everywhere. Terry Barr is. So she's kind enough, after all that, she's won numerous Emmys, but yet still she's willing to be she does our intro every day. So how about that?
Speaking of that part of the state and big name acts who were there just before they hit it big, I think Taylor Swift had a concert in Green Bay.
Really?
Just before she hit it big too. Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
One of her first like shows that she did. Yep, I remember reading
Very
about
good.
that. There was something about because Lambeau Field wasn't on, and she's like, "Oh, I had played Green Bay the first tour I ever did."
Wow,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. Zomers tells me I might have misspoken. Max Inc. Radio's it's every Saturday night. I'm sorry, every Saturday night from 6 until the lights go out. Here on the Civic Media Radio Network on VNW MDX. All right, Trigby, any here I guess just to put a point on this thing that we were talking about earlier with what's happening out in D.C. yesterday with Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump addressing these military leaders. Normally, you and I like to leave people with hope, and I obviously still think there's hope. But this is kind of a dark stuff, Trigby, because I think, my opinion, you've actually taken on authoritarians in Eastern Europe. But tell me what you think. This whole thing of telling military, literally telling them yesterday, if you have a sinking feeling right now as you hear this, then resign. I mean, Hegseth told him that. And Trump saying, this is take on domestic terrorism. The Constitution says all enemies, foreign and domestic, and calling out, Memphis and Chicago and Los Angeles and Portland by name. This doesn't feel good to me, Trigby.
Well, it's pretty abnormal, Todd. And, the thing is, the people who are subscribing to it, yep, those places, they're a disaster. It will be your town eventually, too.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the other thing about this is, and this is the thing, could you imagine if Barack Obama had been saying, we need to be sending troops to, wherever, small town USA, Shawano?
Yeah.
Right.
Very
people would be
red
going
county.
bananas. Right. I will also tell you it's ironic because, and, this part isn't ironic, but, as we've been traveling around to go see the Packers play in all these places, right? I love the fact that my daughters are getting to see all these major American cities. Like, we were in San Francisco. You know what? Everybody in that stadium stood up and sang the national anthem and had pride. We were in Dallas, a red state, same thing. There were homeless people all over the place in San Francisco. You know what? There were homeless people all over the place in downtown Dallas.
Yeah.
Like, and we can have a conversation about how sad that is, but you never hear him say, well, we need to deploy federal troops to Dallas.
Right.
Why is that? I mean, if either side doing this, it's a little bit like the whole thing with Jimmy Kimmel. It isn't about your side. It's about how would you respond if the other side were doing it to you, and if you would be outraged by that, then you should be outraged if your side is doing it. And not somewhere along the way, all this, what about? There's just a piece of me, it's so disillusioned with Generation X, the baby boomers. I mean, my God. But what is wrong with Generation X?
That's us, Trigby.
I know. We're going to go down as the worst generation in the history of America.
You think so? The worst?
Potentially. Yeah.
Man.
Because the baby boomers might be the ones who are screwing it all up, but we're the ones who've just gone along for the ride.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah.
Where's our who are the Generation X leaders?
That's a great question.
We haven't had any.
Yeah.
And the ones that we've had, what have they done? Paul was one of them.
Paul Ryan.
What did he do? He quit the fight and went and went. He quit the fight and went and did a bunch of board stuff because it's like, well, I just don't want to fight with Trump. Cashed out.
Yeah.
We have been so pampered. It's crazy.
Trigby isn't always just good. Sometimes he's always good as well. We appreciate him every Wednesday. Trigby, enjoy the weekend off of the Packers. Go Crew. He's a Twins fan. We'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks, Trigby.
Yeah, you guys are in the playoffs. That's something we don't know about.
That's true. Stay tuned. Hour 2 is next. Text to win.
like you guys with World Series
2.7
championships just don't know about it.
Madison's home for real news.
All right, I gotta
thanks,
go.
my friend.
All right,
All right.
see ya.
Civic
Bye.
Media Station.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Lawmakers in the Senate failing to pass a stopgap measure to end the federal shutdown in another vote today. 750,000 government workers impacted that are furloughed, and Vice President J.D. Vance echoed President Trump's threat that permanent layoffs are likely next.
The question is this just a threat at this point to try to put pressure on Democrats, or will they actually follow through on this? And we have seen this administration, of course, cut agencies, cut departments, and cut federal workers by significant numbers as part of that DOGE effort.
ABC's Karen Travers. Republicans need the help of Democrats to pass a measure to extend government funding. The Supreme Court, without explanation, moved to allow Lisa Cook to remain as Federal Reserve Governor after President Trump appealed to the highest court to remove her, alleging mortgage fraud. Those allegations she denies. The decision allows Cook's case to proceed in the lower courts. Acclaimed primatologist Jane Goodall has died. Her institute announced the 91-year-old died of natural causes. This is ABC News.
Madison, Wisconsin. Students, government, lakes, and 92.7 WMDX.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. We have a new candidate in next year's race for state Supreme Court. Conservative Justice Rebecca Bradley's term is up in 2027. Liberal appellate judge and former state representative Chris Taylor announced she would be running against Bradley. But then, about a month ago, Bradley announced she would not seek re-election. She called on conservatives to, quote, take stock of failures, identify the problem, and fix it, end quote. Liberal judges have won 4 of the last 5 Wisconsin Supreme Court elections. Now, a conservative contender is entering the race to replace her. Maria Lazar has been on the 2nd District Court of Appeals since 2022. She released her first campaign video this morning.
I'm an independent, impartial judge who strives to follow the law and Constitution in every decision I make from the bench. It is time to restore that level of judicial dedication to the court. That is precisely why I have decided to run for the open seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court.
The court currently has a 4-3 liberal majority. If a conservative candidate wins, that balance would stay the same. If a liberal candidate wins, the court would have a 5-2 liberal majority. Last year's contest between Susan Crawford and Brad Schimmel became the most expensive state court race in American history. And there's a new member of the Sun Prairie School Board. Danny Miller is a teacher-educator at UW-Madison and served as an English teacher for 10 years. He was chosen to replace Katie Kumoku, who resigned, saying she wanted to prioritize her family and her job. 4 members of the Sun Prairie School Board have stepped down in the last year. The board is under scrutiny for its handling of child abuse allegations against former Sun Prairie West Dean
There he
Robert
goes.
Okimaisagai.
Oh, Bucky Badger
The Journal
taking a
reports
fall.
he's the
I
3rd
see.
staff member in the district to be charged with child sex crimes in the last 3 years. I'm Savannah Tomei Olson, 92.7 WMDX News.
The Brewers warming up. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports baseball. The Brewers worked out at AmFam Field as they wait to find out who they'll play Saturday. The Cubs beat the Padres 3-1. Game 1 of their best-of-3 game wild card series. Brewers catcher William Contreras had another MRI on his left hand that's bothered him all season. Manager Pat.
I didn't have it ready soon enough, but when you got up, I was going to play There He Goes by Patsy Cline.
That injury, he's going to play.
NFL, Matt LaFleur on what went wrong in the final minute in overtime that led to the Packers settling for a tie with the Cowboys.
When we're not in 2-minute mode and then you jump into 2-minute mode, everybody on the field has to know that. And we were operating more of our, no huddle tempo, which isn't warp speed. It's a bad look, quite honestly, and it's just the communication and process have got to be cleaned up because we can't allow that ever to happen.
Aren't you ready for the green and gold text to win contest?
We're trying.
Madison, Wisconsin. More lakes, more bikes, lively politics with 92.7 WMDX.
It is going to be another partly cloudy, warm day today. Our high right around 79 this afternoon. Tonight, partly cloudy. We'll drop into the mid to upper 50s. Tomorrow, sunny, a little breezier with a high in the low to mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 76.
as Dan Schaefer Schaefer just sent to our political chat. Looks like Tom Tiffany's getting major backing from a lot of the big boys in conservative moneyland.
What does the Fox say? We grew up kind of in the same era, you know?
Oh, what does the Fox say? Or Gundam Style?
Oh, those are terrible.
That's another one. Oh, whatever.
Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Weeknights from 6 till 8 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app.
Doctors Without Borders is delivering life-saving medical care where it's needed most in communities around the world. From bandaging war-wounded patients in Sudan to providing clean drinking water in Haiti, we're in more than 70 countries worldwide, bringing patients from sick to recovering, from emergency to aid, from crisis to care.
30 seconds.
This
Thank you.
life-saving care is made
I think we're going to use Trump declares war from within, and then we'll use the Millie one, and then we'll move on.
Okay, sounds good.
On location, it's the Todd Allbaugh Show. And now, pursuing truth wherever it may lead, here's your host, Todd Allbaugh.
Civic Media Radio Network and streaming worldwide on the Civic Media app. Good afternoon, everybody. Todd Allbaugh along with Mr. Aaron Zommers on the board. It is Wednesday, October 1st, 2025. It is a great day to be a Wisconsinite, and it is
Hump Day.
There you go. It is Hump Day. As a matter of fact, we are live here on location in beautiful Shawano, Wisconsin. Just about a half an hour or so drive west of Green Bay. Glad to have you along here on a Wednesday. Many thanks to Pat Kreitlow of Mornings at Pat Kreitlow and Trygve Olsen of the Lincoln Project for being with us in hour number one. Always great to catch up, talk a little sports, talk a little news with two of our great friends. Coming up in this hour, do not miss it. Going to want to stick around. After the farm news update at the bottom of the hour, one of our great legislators, well, at least in my opinion, great legislators of this part of the state, northeast Wisconsin, Wisconsin State Representative Ahmad Rivera Wagner. Now, here's a guy who worked for the mayor of Green Bay and then got himself elected to the state assembly. He's been on the program before. We've been over there in Green Bay when he's joined us live there in the studio. And here's a guy, I love having him on because he addresses problems, issues, challenges in our state, but he doesn't complain about it. In my opinion, big difference. There are people that complain about things going on, and then there are people that just talk about and say, hey, here's an issue, but here's where I think we can solve it or address it. And so we're going to be talking about housing. I think it doesn't matter whether you're in Amory or whether you're in Hayward or Milwaukee, Madison, Richland Center, Wausau. Housing and the struggles to find affordable housing are issues across the state. Representative Rivera Wagner is going to be here to tell us about his piece of legislation that will begin to address it. Looking forward to that conversation. Going to give you a chance to win fabulous cash and prizes in our green and gold text to win contest here in a minute, and also our What's Worse category coming up as well. But before we leave the newsy news portion of what we did last half hour there, with Trygve, I guess. On this military meeting yesterday at Quantico, Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C., 800 or so flag officers, generals, the finest of our leaders of our military, flown in from around the world, taken off of their active duty posts to be flown in for essentially a political pep rally and a talking to by the Secretary of Defense. It's still Secretary of Defense officially, even though they want to call it Secretary of War. Pete Hegseth, of course, former Fox Weekend television host, and the President of the United States, former star of The Apprentice on NBC. And this whole notion that where Secretary Hegseth said, if you have a sinking feeling inside as you hear these things, then resign. And then Trump, quote unquote, jokes about, hey, if you can walk out if you want, but you're going to sacrifice your rank and your pay. I don't think they're necessarily joking around. And I want to play just a couple of cuts here for you. First of all, and again, this was one of the most disturbing cuts to me. This is President Trump essentially declaring war from within the United States yesterday at Quantico, Virginia.
What they've done to San Francisco, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they're very unsafe places, and we're going to straighten them out one by one. And this is going to be a major part for some of the people in this room. That's a war, too. It's a war from within. Controlling the physical territory of our border is essential to national security. We can't let these people in.
A war from within. The President of the United States, sitting President of the United States, Commander-in-Chief, telling his leaders of his military, our top military concerns are no longer China, Russia, Iran, other bad actors in the world. It's our fellow Americans. And I find that chilling. And to understate it, concerning. Let's go and listen to one of the generals that was under attack yesterday by Pete Hegseth. Former Joint Chiefs of Staff General Milley. One of the most decorated, most experienced, saw some of the most combat tours, not the most, but some of the most, largest amount of active duty deployment in the theater of war. Former 4-star general, former Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Milley, this is what he said as he left the Joint Chiefs of Staff and addressed the troops and other leaders here a couple of years ago, or a year or so ago, when he left office.
We don't take an oath to a country. We don't take an oath to a tribe. We don't take an oath to a religion. We don't take an oath to a king or a queen or to a tyrant or a dictator. And we don't take an oath to a wannabe dictator. We don't take an oath to an individual. We take an oath to the Constitution, and we take an oath to the idea that is America, and we're willing to die to protect it. Those values and ideas are contained within the Constitution of the United States of America, which is the moral North Star for all of us who have the privilege of wearing the cloth of our nation. It is that document that all of us in uniform swear to protect and defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Those who sacrificed themselves on the altar of freedom in the last 2.5 centuries of this country must not have done so in vain. The millions wounded in our nation's wars did not sacrifice their limbs and shed their blood to see this great experiment in democracy perish from this earth. No, we the American people, we the American military must never turn our back on those.
It kind of ends there abruptly. They got posted on TikTok with that music behind it. But you get the point. And as I've said this program before, I never served. I never put the uniform on. I had the distinct honor and pleasure of working with those who did during my time working for Congressman Klug, doing military affairs issues. No one respects veterans more than me, and having had the opportunity to be with some of these families who lost individuals, be with families and veterans who were injured in combat. And I would hope that as we go to the polls, the midterms next year, that we keep these things in mind. If you served, if you're currently serving, if you have family or friends that served, remember those words of General Milley, someone who served, that our men and women that wear the uniform take an oath to a Constitution, to the American ideal. They don't take an oath to an individual, a dictator, and in General Milley's words, a wannabe dictator. It's 14 minutes now past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again to play Civic Media's Green and Gold Text to Win multi-state contest. Up for grabs today, somebody will win $200 cash and gold jewelry. Everybody who enters is eligible for 1 grand prize, 2 club-level indoor seats to Green Bay versus Minnesota. It's a Green Bay home game on November 23rd, 2025 at noon. Plus, you get a gas card to get you to the game. Not sure to get you home, but we'll get you to the game. Has a value of $1,550. Green Bay is a lovely place to camp out, especially in November. Anyway, here's if you don't have the Civic Media app, download it on your Apple or Android device. Open it up. First 10 stations are the ones we're on. Choose one of those. Once you open up one of those stations, in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see an icon that says text. Click on that. Now you're set to go. I'm going to give you the word of the hour. Text the following word right now. The word is stadium. Stadium. And the spelling counts, so listen carefully. The word is spelled, stadium is S as in Sam, T as in Todd, A as in Apple, D as in David, I as in Igloo, U as in umbrella, and M as in Mary. Stadium. S-T-A-D-I-U-M. Stadium is the word. You have until 4 o'clock to tell. We're going to come in last, by the way, this time, Zombers.
Probably.
Stadium. That's the word. You have until 4 o'clock. Play along. Civic Media's green and gold text to win multi-state contest. Good luck. Now, the only reason I said that is because I find that to be a difficult word. Do you agree, Zombers?
Yeah, it's more difficult than some, like, I'm not going to say other words, but there are words we've had that are like 4 letters and really easy to spell, for example.
Yeah. All right, you have until 4 o'clock. Stadium is the word to text in right now in the Civic Media app for our green and gold text to win multi-state contest. It's 17 now, past the hour of 3 o'clock. Time once again for What's Worse. Let's go.
This or that, this or that. Then, of course, the choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that.
Time once again for What's Worse. On this portion, nothing to give away, no prize money involved. But in the other portion, there is. Anyway, you can have your voice heard across all 10 news, talk, and sports stations of the Civic Media Radio Network. We're here in beautiful Green Bay, outside on a spectacular fall day. So glad to have you along. And you don't need a lamp where we're at outside, but the days are starting to get a little bit shorter in terms of daylight, right? And so the category for What's Worse, overhead lighting or lamps. Overhead lighting or lamps. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Overhead lighting or lamps. What's worse? You can also text us on the Civic Media app. Download it on your Apple or Android device and text in or call. Let's go to the phone lines. Back at the old RC in the Driftless. I'll be there this weekend. Whistler on the line on WRCE. Whistler, overhead lighting or lamps. What's worse?
What's worse? All right. Well, first let me start this off with Todd. You know, the word of the day, when you start texting, it automatically spells it. Anyway.
Really?
I think lamps.
All right. You've given us a lot of information here. So first of all, when you start texting it automatically spells it for you?
Yes. So you do not have to do that.
I didn't know, but thank you.
No.
Thank you. No one tells me these things.
Realize that, but
I really should start going to the meetings. But anyway. So you think that lamps are worse?
Lamps are worse, okay? When you're in the house and, you know, it is dark and the lamps aren't so bright, it doesn't light the whole room.
Yeah.
When you get up to look for something like, okay, we have a new puppy, dog turds might show up, you don't see them if there's just lamps. Right?
Whistler, you outdone yourself. All right. Whistler says, be careful the dog turns. Turn on the overhead lights. We'll come back from Shawano after this. What's worse, overhead lighting or lamps? 855-752-4842. You're listening to the Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Come for the cheese. Stay because your car won't start. Get ready now.
Yeah, Dana on lacrosse, I think you're right. I think it's just autocorrect.
That's fantastic. I love everything about that call.
Fresh, homemade, and the best prices in town. See why one review said best tacos I've ever had in my life. Elsa's own Huddle Show. You won't leave hungry, just happy.
Herbal Aspect has
So is that you start texting it and it fills it in?
Well, autocorrect, yeah. Like, don't you have the autocomplete, I suppose, rather?
I don't know. Autocomplete, autocorrect. I don't know. There's too many auto things in life. There's AI. There's autocorrect.
Whether you walk in, call, or order online.
Oh, that's fantastic stuff right there.
So stop by Herbal Aspect in Sun Prairie because great cannabis isn't just a pipe dream.
Nice. I'm rolling over now.
Herbal Aspect.
Is violent crime in the U.S. higher than 25 years ago?
Oh.
No. Violent crime is lower nationally and in major cities.
Yes, PJ, we said that at the top of the show. Jane Goodall, dead at 91.
Cities with 250,000 or more people reported 771 violent crimes per 100,000
Oh,
residents.
that Whistler, that was spectacular.
In 2000, nationally, violent crime has stayed below 400 incidents per 100,000 residents.
It's getting windier
for a
here in
decade,
Shawano.
compared to about 500 in the late 1990s. Pew Research reported a 49% drop in violent crime, which includes murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault since 1993. I'm Trisha Young for Wisconsin Watch. Fact Briefs are bite-sized fact checks of trending claims produced by Wisconsin Watch and GigaFact.
People are
Read
driving
more at
by looking like, what is this guy
wisconsinwatch.org.
doing broadcasting in the driveway?
You can support animals in need.
You gotta do what you gotta do. The show must go on.
The show must go on.
Thrift Store West.
Todd in someone's backyard.
I'm in my
Front yard
parents'
more.
front yard, but yes, I'm in my dad and stepmom's yard in Shawano, Wisconsin.
Toys, furniture, and a whole lot.
All right, 20
Proceeds
seconds.
from the Dane County Humane
Gracias.
Society's thrift
Welcome back to the Allbaugh Show, live on location from Shawano, Wisconsin. It's a beautiful autumn fall day here. Hope it is where you're at as well across the state of Wisconsin. Weather is supposed to continue to be pretty nice through at least part of the weekend, where it's going to get a little more windy, say, and a little cooler. So enjoy it while we can here. Glad to have you along here on the Civic Media Radio Network. Now 23 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock, just after the bottom of the hour. State Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner in talking about the housing shortage, but right now a little fun and games. What's worse, overhead lighting or lamps? Overhead lighting or lamps. 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. And right before the break there, we had Whistler on from RC, listening to us on WRCE, saying that when you, this is a separate thing, on the Text to Win contest, the green and gold multi-state Text to Win contest, which incidentally, the word this hour is stadium. Stadium is the word. He said, well, when you start texting it, it fills it in. Now, I didn't know, and I thought, well, maybe I missed a meeting, as I occasionally do. But no, Dana in La Crosse, listening to us up there at LCX, right? WLCX in La Crosse, says Whistler's autocorrect is spelling the word for him. His autocorrect.
Yeah, it's autocorrect / autocomplete.
All right, autocomplete.
But I think it's still worth spelling out the words because I'm sure you do. It's still worth spelling out the words because we might have confusion with similar sounding ones.
Very good.
In this case, with stadium, not a whole lot of words sound exactly like stadium. But
Exactly. But you never know. You never know. John, listening to us on WMDX in Edgerton, says voice text helps as well. Now, I've done that before just because I'm not a great speller. And so you have voice text. I've done that before. Cindy, listening on WXCO in beautiful Wausau, home of Chad Holmes and Bull Falls Radio. Cindy up there in Wausau is a knitter. That's fantastic. She says, as a knitter, overhead lighting... Hang on here. Overhead lighting is the worst. When you're working with tiny needles and dark yarn for fancy stitches, overhead lighting can be difficult to work with. I've been known to wear a light around my neck to see detailed work. Well, that's
useful.
Cool because you've got those lamps now. You can
like a
buy
headlamp?
a headlamp, and it can look right onto what you're doing. So that's fantastic. What's worse, overhead lighting or lamps? 855-752-4842. 855-752-4842. Just looking down here. Yeah, let's look at a couple more of these entries here on Facebook. Heather, watching in beautiful Eau Claire, Wisconsin on Facebook, says, for a short person like me, overhead lighting is worse. Lamps are easier to change the bulb. Plus, the buzz of overhead lights are super annoying. Well, that could be true, right? Although, she says, I agree with Whistler, harder to see with lamps. Now I'm conflicted. Zommers, what do you think? Overhead lighting, or lamps? What's worse?
I don't know. I think lamps are worse just because.
Really?
It's no secret to anyone who's watched the show for some time. My eyes are crap.
Yes.
They just suck. And not only is my vision bad, my night vision is terrible. And lamps just don't cut it. They're not bright enough. I know a lot of people don't like, daylight bulbs or LED lights because they're so bright. They help me so much. What is like an incandescent coloration? It's just hard for me to see and be able to read things and whatever. And so I know it's because of my old man eyes, but
You're
I think lamps are
26
worse.
years old. You can't have
Yes,
that
but I do
old.
have old man eyes.
All right, very good. Very good. What do you think? 855-752-4842, 855-752-4842. Overhead lighting or lamps? I'm kind of mixed on this, but I think if I had to choose one, I would say overhead lighting is worse, simply because I like some mood lighting, and if it's too bright, I don't know. I just think it. I get what you're saying if you're going to read or whatever, but a good lamp. That's the other thing too. You need a good lamp where it's kind of directly on what you're reading or what you're working on.
That's true.
I think that's nice. Or a room in the evening with nice lights or lamps. I think of it. What I don't like, to be very judgmental, is I call it the cloud lights. Like you go into a kitchen and it's just like a big, oval shaped, and it's just all the plastic and tube lighting, and it reminds me of like school lighting or something. I don't know. It's just that for me is too bright.
I do agree with your sister. For lights that like a fluorescent light, anything with the humming tubes, it's got to go. But when you have LED
That's
bulbs,
very
they're great.
old. I don't know that many lamps hum anymore. Do they?
Or well, she mentioned overhead lighting. Like if you're in an office building that has the fluorescent tubes, they can hum, and you don't always hear it, but sometimes you do, and then it's very annoying.
You don't want a hummer from your lamp. Anyway, Matt in Milton, listening on WMDX, says overhead is worse as you're stuck with it once installed, as lamps are adjustable. Now, that's a great point.
This is true.
Said much better than I did. Much more succinct. I think that's a great point, Matt. Well, because you can move lamps around, you can do different things, but once you have a big overhead lamp on the ceiling, kind of hard to undo it. All right, that's What's Worse for today. We'll come back with a brand new edition of What's Worse tomorrow as well. Don't forget, we're right in the middle of our green and gold text to win multi-state contest. The word this hour to text in via the Civic Media app is Stadium. STADIUM as in Mary. The word is Stadium. Text it in right now on the Civic Media app to be eligible for our green and gold multi-state text to win contest. We are always a winner when we're joined by State Representative Alon Rivera-Wagner. He is bringing some piece of legislation to address the housing shortage in Wisconsin. We'll find out all about it on the other side. Stay tuned now for Pam Yonke and the Farm Report on the Civic Media Radio Network.
No, I can't sleep until I feel your touch.
Representative Rivera-Wagner, how are you?
Your background is gorgeous.
Thank you. I'm here with my parents in Shawano, Wisconsin.
Nice.
So,
I actually think lamps are worse.
Thank
by the
you.
way, floor lamps, because
Why is that?
they're never really that adequate, and you have to do so much work to do that, and it's
That's
really
a good
hard
point.
to mess up lights that you put on the ceiling. It generally works like most of the time, but I think lamps are complicated and
they're complicated.
Yeah, I had an apartment during college that had no overhead lighting in it.
Right?
And that was miserable.
Right. You can survive a house without lamps, but you cannot survive housing without overhead lighting. So I just want to.
I think we should start there. I think we should start there because that goes into housing. So I think that's a great entry point.
I'm happy to do that.
All right.
And let me know too. I'm happy to also talk about the democracy package, but obviously very proud about the housing bill that is actually just had a hearing yesterday and is going to be on the floor on Tuesday. And so probably one of the first pieces of shockingly bipartisan legislation to expand housing.
That's awesome.
If miracles can happen, it might happen on Tuesday.
See, now that's exactly what we're looking for. A bright spot in the news cycle.
I'm trying here. I tell you all the time.
You
can't make all these things work, but you can't win a battle that you don't start, right? You can't win a fight that you don't have. So it's been really nice to work with my Republican colleagues on this.
That's super cool.
It's not actually been a noun and a verb and a culture war. It's actually been just focused on housing, and it really has been beautiful to see the kind of unity that comes around when we're actually talking about issues that impact people's lives.
That's super cool. That's awesome. Let's see and we have you for the half hour or the
Yes.
first. All right, very good. See, we got time to talk about things. This is fantastic. How are things in beautiful Green Bay?
Still hopeful. People were a little mad at the Packers last week or the week before last for losing, and then they're a little frustrated at the late night game. But we're 2 weeks ago, you couldn't tell a Green Bay Packer fan nothing. We were Super Bowl bound. We've been, I think Matt LaFleur said that the NFL has a way of humbling you. I think it humbled a couple of us the last 2 weeks. Yeah. And so, but other than that, beautiful day out, gorgeous.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
People are excited. It feels like summer has stretched just a little bit, but with a touch of fall, which is like the best combination in Northeast Wisconsin.
Well, that's why I'm over here. My dad and stepmoms. My dad had a minor oral surgery, but he's dealing with some dementia issues as well. So I came over just to kind of be supportive and to hang out. And so I thought I'd do the show here. And it was so nice. I'm like, I don't want to do it inside. I'm going to go out. We're literally just in the driveway in front of their house. So I said to my stepmom, I said, you have this beautiful pumpkin patch, very festive,
Fall is my favorite time of the year, especially in Northeast Wisconsin. It's, it's like the edge of cherry season onto apple picking season. Yeah. So it really is like you just don't get a better version of Northeast Wisconsin until you get to the fall. But that's my very humble and biased opinion.
No, I couldn't agree more. It's fall overall is just my favorite time of year, just for all the reasons you said. It's just you don't have the humidity. I mean, even though it's warm, you don't have the humidity. Yes. So.
Right. And, my favorite holiday isn't Christmas, even though my husband would kill me for saying that. My favorite holiday is Halloween.
Is it really?
Truly is. Yeah, I love Halloween. It is like the one time of the year where people truly get to be joyful and creative and kind of defy expectations. And it's just, that's just normal, right? Like you get to just have a good time. And it's not like pure capitalism where you have to buy people something for them to love you. It isn't like religiously forced that you have to like you do it because God told you. You're just like kind of having a good time. And the centerpiece of it is that you hand out something to perfect strangers. And how beautiful is that? And so I'm just a nerd who loves dressing up and giving out things. So, maybe I was meant for government.
I love it. I think that's great. I mean, what's better than that? A spokesperson for Halloween right here.
I know.
All right, we got about 10 seconds.
All right, here we go. Wherever it may lead, and having fun doing it. Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. We are live on location in beautiful Shawano, Wisconsin, which is about 30 minutes or so west of Green Bay, where our next guest is coming to us from. But quickly, before we do that, reminder, we're in the middle of our green and gold multi-state text-to-win contest. The word this hour is stadium. Stadium, STADIUM. Text it right now. You have until 4 o'clock to do so to win fabulous cash and prizes and 2 club-level indoor seats to Green Bay versus Minnesota on November 23rd. Again, the word is stadium. You can text it on the Civic Media app. Housing, doesn't matter whether you're here in Shawano or 30 miles to our east in Green Bay or southwest Wisconsin or Milwaukee or Madison, wherever we go, wherever we take this show, people tell us the same thing. Todd, there's a lack of it. And B, it's not affordable for everyone. And what are we going to do about it? Our next guest is one of the great people we have on this show. He always brings us solutions. He is State Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner, who is joining us from his district over in the Green Bay area. Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm doing great. Go Pack Go. And what a great gift for the Packers versus Minnesota. Talk about a joyful rivalry. That's a right. I'm jealous of whoever gets that prize.
Absolutely. You're so good-natured, and God love you for actually listening to the show a little bit, because as you came on in the break, you gave us your answer, and I think this goes right into the issue of housing. What's worse today, the category was overhead lighting or lamps. Overhead lighting or lamps. So, Representative, what's worse?
I want to say lamps. You can survive a house without lamps, but you can't survive without overhead lighting. And lamps just might be the wrong style, the wrong lampshade. There's a lot of work that goes into maintaining a good lamp vibe in the house that I don't have the skill or the talent to provide. I like that utilitarian, easy access overhead light. So I'm a pro overhead light person, and I might not be as cool enough to handle the lamp culture.
I love that. We appreciate you giving us an answer. That's fantastic. Well, Representative, you can't have overhead lighting or lamps, really, if you don't have a place to live. That's right. For so many Wisconsinites, either A, they're facing non-housing situations, they're underhoused, they're living with friends and family. But many folks are saying, A, I don't think I'll ever be able to own my own home. And even others are saying, I can't really afford, with costs of rent going up, to get a decent apartment. And we hear this all over the state. And what I love about the way that what you have brought to the legislature, in my opinion, is you're a solution-based person. And so tell us a little bit about what you've heard from your constituents in the Green Bay area on housing and this piece of legislation that you're proposing to help address it.
So one of the things I've talked to you before is that Green Bay in 2022 was considered the #1 place to live in the United States by U.S. News and World Report. And one of the reasons it did that was access to homeownership was still a deep possibility here in Green Bay, that if you wanted to build a family or just wanted to be in a relationship and be a Packers fan, however you wanted to live, you could show up in this community and be able to make that affordable. That is becoming harder and harder. In Brown County, we have something called ALICE, which is asset limited, income constrained, which basically means that every single person, we have less than 2% unemployment, is working. And despite being able to work, 1 in 3 families that are Alice cannot actually afford to go into home ownership. That is drastically different than it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and particularly a generation ago. And so we need to make sure that we are focusing on building housing at every income level. And here's what's interesting about housing. It does not respect geographic boundaries. It's this crisis. And it does not respect the partisan dynamics that may exist in the state legislature. It is affecting all of us, rural and urban, small and large, south and north, all over the state. And so I'm deeply excited about this proposal because this is the number one issue I heard about in my community and still to this day. We want to be able to either move into our home, the first one ever, or we are aging in place and we are young at heart, but we don't need a 3,300 square foot house. We want to get an apartment in downtown Green Bay. And because we do not have the supply that we need at the rates that we need them, it's harder for everyone across the age spectrum and income spectrum. And so I'm excited about this bill because what it does is basically expands the Habitat for Humanity model. For those who don't know what Habitat for Humanity is, it's an organization that partners with local municipalities. They donate the land, and perfect strangers, people that you don't ask who they voted for, what they believe, but they want to get something done, actually come together, build a home, and that home is given to a family that qualifies. My family was one of those families. So the house my mom currently lives in is a house that I built with perfect strangers. And she still lives here to this day, and it changed my life. We went from being homeless for most of my young life to being homeowners. And that kid ended up becoming the state rep from Green Bay. And so I know the power that housing can play in people's lives. And this bill not only creates that, it's modeled on that. And the quickest and simplest version is it basically creates a zero interest loan for first-time home buyers to be able to get a house. We do something fancy called a second mortgage, but it basically gives the capacity for us to be able to go up to 100% of the median income of any community. And that means for the first time, this program will allow up to middle-class families actually a pathway to home ownership, which is so desperately needed.
We're talking with State Representative Ahmad Rivera-Wagner from the Green Bay area. He is coming to us live via StreamYard and talking about this new piece of legislation in regards to housing across the state. Representative, a couple of things that struck me. A, isn't it both sad, but also gives us a great opportunity that underhoused and unhoused people is one of the few things that binds us together right now in this weird political environment. As you just said, doesn't matter whether you live in a larger city or the most rural Wisconsin, so many people are having the exact same or similar issues of housing, but it gives us this opportunity, especially when we have leaders like you who say, okay, let's set aside all these things we don't agree on for a minute, and how can we work together on something we do agree on? So I want to start there, if we could, about your forging relationships, like political relationships with people that might not be natural political allies, and who have you reached across the aisle and worked with on this issue?
So I'm really glad you asked that, because what's really beautiful is this is a bipartisan piece of legislation. I worked with folks like Rep. Armstrong, who our districts couldn't look any different. They asked for different things culturally. One's more suburban/rural, one is urban and more racially diverse. But where we got together way at the beginning of the session is I told people I was passionate about housing. And in particular, as someone that experienced homelessness, I know the power this can do in people's lives. And that resonated with the representative and a coalition of other folks. And we reached out to Habitat, and Habitat reached out to some stakeholders and said, what could we do together if the goal was to actually get more housing and get more people into housing? We didn't ask about other bills. We didn't talk about healthcare. We didn't talk about political violence. We didn't talk about democracy. We said, what would it look like if we all just focused on making it more possible for more people to have housing? And over 6 months, we worked together on this legislation that truly is progressive and bipartisan, which I know in this moment seems not possible. But here we are having people come together across political divides, geographic divides, working together to actually put something on paper that just isn't incremental. This program has never existed. And so to me, what I'm proud of is that when you center the actual experiences of your district, not your political parties, not the fights that we're willing to have on every other issue, but the things that people need, there's a lot more alignment and possibility when the centerpiece. I joke with everyone, I didn't become all of a sudden more moderate. I didn't become less Democratic. I didn't become more Republican. The values of making sure more people got housed was something that transcended the boundaries that we put up in other ways. And so I'm incredibly thankful. There was a hearing on this on Tuesday. There was people who spoke for it from all different backgrounds. It's going to be voted on next Tuesday. So not only did we bring something that was bipartisan and really spoke to a lot of people, it's moving at lightning speed. Frankly, even I'm shocked at how well it's going. Because hope springs eternal.
I don't mean to interrupt, but again, I just want to make sure people that are listening right now across the state, we're speaking with Representative Rivera Wagner from Green Bay, this actually seems to have a chance to have a vote on the full assembly floor, a bipartisan bill, which we just have gotten used to say, well, that'll never happen. And so it seems to have a real chance of passing. Is that correct?
Not only a real chance of passing, I believe it's on the docket for next Tuesday. Wow. And so not only is it on the floor of the assembly, it most likely will pass with bipartisan support. And so
that's amazing.
It truly is. I'm humbled that talking about my homelessness could have led to a conversation that led to a possibility for people who experience that, but even for everyday people who shouldn't have to experience homelessness, but just want the dream of homeownership. It is really just refreshing that could resonate across this moment in political division, that could bring us together. And I always tell people, I'll fight Rep. Armstrong on some other issues. That day, we're going to have some debates on some other issues where we're not going to be on the same side, but on this issue, we are aligned.
And I just want to say congratulations as someone who spent a lot of years working in the building, as they say, in the state capitol. And I hope people understand, they're listening across the state, how rare this is. A, you're a freshman legislator, meaning that yes, your first term. B, you're in the minority party because you're a Democrat and Republicans control the state assembly. But you've had the legislative maturity to do what you just said, which is I'm willing to find solutions today and have other battles with my opponents or politically tomorrow, but I'm willing to find real solutions and get things passed. That is extraordinary. It was rare when I was in the building. It's almost unheard of today, and I congratulate you, and I congratulate Representative Armstrong. And quite frankly, I don't do this often, but kudos to Speaker Voss for allowing this to go to the floor and having the common sense to reach across the aisle and get something done. We're speaking with Representative Rivera Wagner from his district in Green Bay, Wisconsin. A couple minutes left, and we'll come back and get more into this. But get us started, Representative. One of the things that I found just hit me when you're talking about this, your bill on homelessness. You know, my parents were divorced when I was fairly young, and my mom was a single mom. And, you know, I remember she, at the time, this back in the 80s, tried to get a little bit of help. And they said, no, unless because there was a small amount of savings for my sister and I for our college fund. And basically, you have to get rid of your couple of $1,000s you have for your kids' education in order to get any government assistance. Here now, if I'm understanding your bill correctly, keep me honest, this is saying that, look, even if you don't have, and nothing wrong with being, completely, really down in a poverty type of situation, but you could be from what some might call a middle class and still be eligible for this bill. Is that correct?
100%. And I think that's such a...
and the music tells me that I've talked too long, so that was our tease. Come back on the other side. Representative Rivera Wagner will keep me honest and give us the details of this great bill on helping address the housing situation in Wisconsin. We're live from Shawano on the Civic Media Radio Network. Sorry about that.
No, that was great. It's like you do this for a living. It was
well, I don't know about that. Some people would disagree, but thank you. I honestly, I think this is another great component of this bill because so often it's like, and not that there's anything wrong with having programs there for the most impoverished, but I think that really it's important to have bills that say, hey, you know, people already have a job, they're trying to do something, they just need a little bit of extra help.
No, and I'm really glad that you're focusing on that because I think that is actually one of the challenges that too many liberals have is that they try to make things so constrained that it doesn't actually reward work. It almost punishes it.
Yeah.
So, and I think that is a real challenge that we have to be more articulate about is that everybody in Green Bay works, right? So that means that almost every program that good liberals want to put out, none of the people qualify despite them struggling.
Yeah.
That's a problem, right? And
100%.
government has to be a force for good for as many people as possible, not just for the completely downtrodden and not for billionaires, right? And that's what looks like it happens. It's like those are the only two people we want to help. And I think there's a lot of people in between that. And so I'm really glad you're bringing this up because it's called means testing is the term that they often use. And the other is called cliff effects, which is
all right, cool. Let's talk about that when we come back. Ba-ba-ba-da-da. If you want to, we can touch. If we have time, we'll touch briefly on the democracy package as well. But our time always goes so fast because you're just too darn good. That's the problem.
Or I'm just a very talkative politician, which would not be an anomaly.
I would not say that. No, it's nice to have people who are conversational, and it's not just. I know some people operate better on talking points, but when you can have an actual conversation and explain things more conversationally, I think it's a benefit to the listener.
You and I are on the same page. I joke with people. It's like I'm not a very good politician. I'd rather just like talk to you about this and tell you how I really feel about lamps because that's how I felt about lamps. Like I might get crap from the lamp lobby. I get it, but I'll take it. That's my actual genuine opinion.
That's right. The lamp lobby is about to throw a little shade on Representative Rivera Wagner. I'll be here all week, folks. That's right. I'll be playing the Charlotte County Fair later on this week. Yeah.
With new treatments emerging and the fight against Alzheimer's and all other dementia, now is the time for hope and for action.
All right, 30 seconds.
Gracias.
And you see there's a couple of Facebook comments.
Yes,
and
thank you very
we have
much.
one phone call as well.
Oh, okay, cool. We'll do as much as we can.
Right, I know there's limited time.
Thank you.
Anyway, 15 seconds.
Welcome back to the Todd Allbaugh Show on the Civic Media Radio Network. It is 8 minutes before the hour of 4 o'clock. At the top of the hour, ABC or CBS News, depending upon which of our great stations you're listening to. A weather update. I'll tell you what it is. Beautiful. That's the weather forecast. And then Mike Clemens, our great sports reporter, with he'll be in talking about the Packers have a bye week, so that's good. They'll recoup after that loss down in Dallas. Speaking of the green and gold, the word until 4 o'clock in our multi-state text-to-win contest, the green and gold text-to-win contest. The word this hour, stadium. Stadium is the word. Text that in until 4 o'clock, the word stadium, on the Civic Media app. And then after Clemens and the sports report, you've got Maggie Dawn, the Maggie Dawn Show. She'll have another word during her show between 4 and 6. And the great Pete Schwaba coming to you live from Green Bay with Nightlight. He'll also have another word in the green and gold text-to-win contest between 6 and 8 o'clock. So be in tune for all of those programs. Okay, lots to get to in a short time to get there. We're speaking with State Representative Ahmad Rivera Wagner from his Green Bay district, about 30 miles to our east. Always great to have you here, Representative, talking about your bipartisan bill. Going to go to the floor, hopefully, for a vote next week. addressing housing. Heather on the Facebook line here watching, Claire, about your bill. She says 100%. The middle needs support as well. I love this conversation. Our 23-year-old does not believe she'll be able to be a homeowner. It makes me so sad. And she then says, you are a rock star, Rep. Rivera Wagner. Thanks for all of your work. Tell us if you can succinctly, because I want to get to this phone call. This bill is not just, and nothing wrong with being at the low end of income or poverty, but this is a bill that potentially reaches a broad swath of people, Representative.
Exactly. One of the things that happened, and you were so articulate about this during the break, is and right before, is that too many families often have a moment of struggle. This is something we all can relate to. And so it's easy to fall in and out of the middle class. It's easy to not be poor for 1 month and be poor the next. Mm-hmm. And too often the way that we create bills, they do something called means testing or cliff effects. It means that you have to have the most series of qualifications. You have to be the poorest of the poor, or a particular specific type of, you can't have any assets, or you can't qualify for this program. Or you qualify for the program at one point, but all of a sudden you get a good job and a raise, and then you get kicked out of the program. Yeah. What's really nice about this bill is we said 100% of the area median income. That means the most middle income and below can benefit from this program. And why that makes a difference. We have 23-year-olds, as your commenter made, who are still living in their families' homes. They are working. They're good people. They are trying to make it work, but they cannot get the kind of programming, zero interest loans that are possible to the only hyper wealthy people in this country. And so imagine this 23-year-old now with a good job, working hard, because of this program, will be able to get into home ownership for the first time in their lives. We just don't typically have that for this broad swath of the community. And that's why I'm so proud. It's not only bipartisan, it is one of the most expansive options that we have for first-time home buyers in recent memory. And that's how we are going to solve our economic crisis, by supporting the many, not the few on any extreme, whether you're only really poor or you're a billionaire. Those should not be how our government works, whether they're the only people we work towards. We have to create a world where 80% of people, or most of that people, can actually get access to the support they need from their government, and government should be a force for good.
Yeah, I love every part of this bipartisan bill. Let's go quickly to the phone line. Ollie, listening up in the North Woods of Wisconsin. Ollie, if you could get it in quickly, please. You had a question about elderly housing. Please go ahead.
Yes, I do. Just a comment that if there were more affordable housing for elderly who generally are handicapped, they would love to be able to get rid of their bigger homes, the family homes, that they can't necessarily afford to transfer to handicapped accessible. Therefore, opening a family home for a younger couple and being able to be insecure in an apartment that's handicapped that they can afford.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate the call, Ollie. About a minute left here, Representative. Go ahead.
The quick version is she's identifying a very key issue that too often when we don't have enough supply in housing, that actually is both a trickle up and trickle down effect. Meaning, if we don't have enough apartments, mixed income apartments, we can have those who are young at heart who are trying to transition to smaller places, free up the houses that could be used for first-time home buyers, starter homes, etc. And so this is a reason why we need more supply. And I did add an amendment to this bill that would actually help create low interest rates for developers to do exactly what she's talking about, which is build more supply so that we can get people moving through the market the way they used to and create options for everybody.
I think this is amazing. Again, please come back on and talk about this as this bill progresses. I hope that people, because it has to, assuming it passes the Assembly, it has to pass the Senate as well. So please, everybody who's listening across this state, call your state legislator. What's the bill number? You have it or
I don't actually do have it in front of me, but it is
that's fine.
The revolving loan fund, first-time home buyer mortgage fund.
All right, first-time home buyer mortgage fund, and sponsored by Representative Ahmad Rivera Wagner. Call your state legislator. Tell them to vote for this bill because it's part of what makes Wisconsin great. Congratulations on this, Representative. I wish you all the best. Thank you for doing the Lord's work. Thanks for doing Wisconsin's work, because these are the kinds of things that will actually make a difference. Thank you so much.
And it's AB 454, Assembly Bill
Thank you.
454. And thank you so much for having me on and having this really important conversation.
Our pleasure. Anytime. You always have a place here. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Have a great day. And also many thanks to Trygve Olsen and Pat Kreitlow for being on, Zommers for doing great work back at the Old World headquarters. We'll see you once again tomorrow from Shawano, right here in beautiful Northeast Wisconsin. Stay tuned. Maggie Dawn is next. Whatever you're fighting for, whatever you believe in, do not give up. Keep banging your drum. We'll see you tomorrow.
And your day will come. Keep banging on your drum, and they will hear you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.
Adios.